Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Orcocast, where we wage war on video games today with my beautiful co-host Lord Val Gaming
Hi.
and my beautiful co-host Bum Bum down there.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about Rogue Company. We are going to talk about Water Shell. We are going to talk about Apex new season. And we have the battle of all the battles. Bum Bum versus Lord Val in Battletoads.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun, yeah.
Yes, it's gonna be amazing. So, I'm going to be quick about what is going on in the realm of Rogue Company, which is my go-to game at the moment. You might have seen me play a lot on stream. If you're a frequent watcher of mine, I like the game a lot. We already established what it is, but here's a short recap for everyone who doesn't know. It's basically a mix of CSGO, Team Fortress with a hint of Paladin, and it's a direct competitor to Valorant. They did an incredible smart advertisement move by hiring in quotations, I don't know how much work he really does on it, Dr. Disrespect to design a map for them and making him an official partner. I give Hi-Res that. I don't know what that cost them, but it was an incredible smart move. And since then the game has also received a few updates. They have a new game mode and a new map. The game mode is called Extraction, which is basically a mixture of the both other game modes Strikeout and Demolition. So in Extraction is the most fastest paced mode they have so far. The goal is basically to either activate a bomb that's already in place or to eliminate the enemy team. It goes really fast because the bomb is already in place, so you just have to go inside, activate it. Whoever gets there first gets the bomb, and then you have a minute and 15 seconds to defend it. You have a minute 15 to activate it and a minute 15 to defend it. It doesn't have a respawn system like Strikeout, where you have just a limited number of respawns but can respawn at any given time as long as there are respawns. It's just if you're gunned down, it's over for you in this mode. But the rounds go by very fast and you can jump back in relatively quickly. In Demolition it can take a little bit of time depending on when you die and how your team is playing. So I think Extraction so far might be my favorite game mode. And then Strikeout. Demolition is still my least favorite. Where you plant the bomb, basically. That doesn't mean I don't like Demolition. I just say it's my least favorite. I like Strikeout and Extraction a lot more. The new map is called Vice. It's basically a concert themed map, and it has a giant Gundam on the stage. So that's kinda cool. I like the design. I think it has all the bells and whistles a Rogue Company map needs. I'm not really convinced yet of the map. I need to play it more. But you have all the nifty angles, all the ambush zones where you have to look out for. So, for example, in the middle of the map there is the stage and there is also a fountain. And you can basically come from both sides in and go over the wall that closes off the stage or the center. So you can basically ambush the team the enemy team when it's hunkered down in the middle, which is pretty great. If you have a team that coordinates well. It's just one example. Good update so far. I like it. I look forward to more. I think they're on a very good path at the moment, and I thoroughly enjoy the game. I really do. I'm not particularly the best player at it, but I love it to death. I think I hadn't have a multiplayer game click this much with me since Tarkov or before Battlefield Bad Company 2, which is a little time frame. But that one will be around for a little while with me. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next update, and I'm actually looking really forward to the map Dr. Disrespect is designing for them, and I will see how that works out. Okay, gentlemen, do you have any questions or anything to add?
Yeah, it's high risk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope they don't kneecap it, just like they did with Tribes.
I mean, it can always happen, but I think the game at the moment is too successful. They also didn't kneecap Paladins so far, and Paladins is by far not their most successful game at this stage. Since Mixer went down, Paladins suffered. But I can.
There is quite a there's quite a good community on
I
Paladins on Twitch, actually.
I know, but I
Not as
think
big. Not as big. but
not
there's a good
as
community.
big. Yes, exactly. And I think a lot of people just didn't really transition over. And I think Paladins is just a prediction I have, but Paladins might get the axe.
Hmm.
Could
I don't think
happen
so. They're still creating quite a lot on Paladins, and it seems to be
because
doing well regardless of the situation.
we might see. I think Realm Royale is also the one that they just will not focus on at this stage because Realm Royale does nothing for them. Or they do nothing for Realm Royale, which is basically their answer to Fortnite without the building. So that's that.
Okay.
And so here's my prediction. I think if they do well in the initial beta stage with Rogue Company, they will gear that game towards success. And like I said, the advertisement move of bringing Dr. Disrespect on board was huge. That was just brilliant. And now everyone is all about Rogue Company. I just hope the hype can live up and can transport some permanent fans over.
Okay. I mean, to be honest with you, I just, I still feel like obviously they're going for the competitive thing. This might kind of like went that direction. It's still going with the competitive thing, but kind of they backtrack a little bit to grab the casuals as well. It's still pretty much competitive, but I enjoyed the game for the first few hours. I did not feel like it after 3 hours because to me, it literally felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again. And I've done that on Counter-Strike already. I've seen that on Valorant. So it's kind of like I keep seeing the same thing. And I'm not going to get into competitive scene. So to me, the game has become a bit, irrelevant because they literally focused on, they clearly focus on the competitive thing. They're not, they're not backing up on that. So to me, it feels like a bit too competitive.
Yeah, I can see that. We'll see what the full release brings.
Yeah, because
Maybe it changes.
Yeah, because if they push too hard into the competitive scene and the esports scene, in the end, more people are just gonna watch it rather than play it.
Yeah.
As with a lot of esports focused games.
I just don't feel like, I don't know. They're releasing more. Is it still in beta?
Yep,
Yes.
it's still in beta.
Yeah, it's still in beta. Okay. Obviously they will probably be releasing more modes or stuff like that, more characters. I mean, it might get interesting. To me, it just feels like it's not quite there yet. And I like playing it for a bit, but it gets boring for me because it's the same thing over and over again. So that's all.
okay. I can see that. Okay. Mortal Shell. Anybody played it? Probably the.
No.
Full disclosure, I received the key from the developers for free for Mortal Shell. I received an Epic Store key via terminals.io. Take that as you will. I received various keys for free already, and some of them I disliked a lot. I like this, actually. This game I like a lot. So, what is Mortal Shell? Mortal Shell is I would say, very unique take on the Souls-like franchise. So, what you are basically is you are let's say a ghost or a creature or whatever, a hermit crab essentially. That one of my viewers called it a hermit crab simulator, which I found funny because that's exactly what it is, with swords and dark fantasy. And you can inhabit various shells, as they are called, so various armors, and all those armors have different properties, which make them suited for different situations. And you can switch them. I mean, you have to find them first and unlock them first. You can switch them, and they all represent various playstyles. So I found my second armor yesterday, and compared to the standard armor you find right at the beginning, it has more health. It has a little bit less of stamina, so you have less energy to attack and to dodge. It's just like Dark Souls. If anyone has ever played Dark Souls, you know that system. What is pretty new and unique, for me at least, and what I find very enthralling, is the resolve system. So you have basically a third bar at the top over your health bar, which is called resolve, and the more enemies you kill, or the more hits you land, and the less you get hit, the more resolve you build up. Resolve is split into segments. Depending on your armor, you have like 3, 5, or whatever. And the interesting thing is you can do a lot of stuff with that resolve. You can do special attacks, which will reduce the bar, obviously, again, and very devastating special attacks. And what I also find very interesting is you get something like a shield, which you can parry enemy attacks with, and then go into a riposte attack and heal yourself with. So there are items that heal you very slowly over time, or you can heal yourself in that way. But there is no Estus Flask so far, or anything comparable, like you know of Dark Souls. You just have either items that heal you slowly over time, or you have this riposte attack, which is a very, very interesting concept. I think the game is very harsh on the player, because you have no invincibility frames when you get hit. So if 3 enemies hit you at the same time, and that can happen, you get all the damage of all 3 enemies and it might kill you. The game is brutal, which I like. You have to be on your toes, you have to be smart about what you're doing, you have to utilize your resources right to get anywhere in this game. And I haven't made it out of the first area yet, which is the swamp, or a swamp. The combat feels like a mixture of Dark Souls and a little bit a hint of Devil May Cry. It feels a bit more faster paced, but has the same methodical approach as Dark Souls. Key feature of this game is that you can harden yourself. So you can, with the press of a button that has, after you harden yourself, there is a cooldown, so you cannot spam it, but you can basically harden your body and it deflects almost every attack I come across so far. Some enemies that are not as strong might be thrown off by it, so they hit you and bounce back. Some other enemies that are way stronger are not impressed by it. Not at all. They just keep wailing on you, so you have to harden and dodge right away. This is actually, like I said, a great mechanic. It's very unique. It isn't really a parry of the attacks, but you can mitigate incoming damage. And this is what makes it interesting. So you have to really strategize with that as well. You have a bunch of utilities at your disposal to survive. That's my thoughts so far on it. I am no way near as far enough into it to give it a final verdict, but from what I've seen so far, you can find 4 shells, you can find 4 different weapons. I haven't found a different weapon so far, but they look very promising. So there is a staff, there is a warhammer and something else, I forgot. And you have a 2-handed sword at the start. You have you have 4 shells basically. I have only found 1 of those so far. And yeah, so it's very promising. Obviously, you can also upgrade all of your shells and unlock new abilities. But before you can do that, and here's the twist, the cruel twist of fate, you have to find the name of the shell. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out.
Sounds interesting.
It is interesting. It's absolutely interesting, and you should play it.
Is it on PC only?
No, it's also on Xbox and PlayStation.
All right, that sounds good then. How's it priced?
$30.
So it's like a lower budget.
Yes, it's made by only 15 people, a core team of 15 people. And
Sounds great.
this game, because we touched upon that in chat yesterday with my viewers, Mom was there as well. You see with this game what a small studio can do as long as it has a vision. Because I'm pretty sure this game was very hard to make, but it oozes the feeling that it was a labor of love. And this is where I commend the developers a lot. Like small little details, like if you strike down one enemy of the smaller, easier enemies, the other one or another one might just get into panic for a short moment, fall backwards down and go back a few steps. Such small little details, but there's so much life in there as well. Just in the environment, there are frogs, you see frogs jumping around in the swamp, and it feels just, despite the world being very dark and very dark, it feels still alive, and there's just, the art style is amazing.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks straight off as a dark fantasy art book.
I mean, and it's also priced, at a lower price than the full-on AAA game, which is, great to see. No, like not Need for Speed, sorry, the Crossroads game.
When Diesel gotta eat, man.
Full-on price. Is the game good? No. Well, it's full-on price anyway, so.
Yeah.
When Diesel needs the food to grow out his arms more.
His arms.
He looks like a T-Rex still. They haven't done anything to it. Oh my god, it's so funny. Yeah, I mean, being an independent, developer and everything, and releasing a game for that price is well worth, and it's also on every single platform, which is
yes, as far as I know. Yeah,
it's well worth giving a try.
Yeah, definitely. At least when it comes to Game Pass, you should try it.
I will definitely try if it comes. Is it on Game Pass now? No, it's not yet, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. I just said at least when it comes to Game Pass.
Yeah.
At least then it's really worth a try.
Okay.
That's you owe that the game. Yeah, but that's my impression of Mortal Shell. I will probably play more today on stream, so that's gonna be a thing, and suck at it profusely. So, any more questions, or shall we move on?
No, I think we're good. I think we got pretty much the idea of the game.
Then let's move on to Apex Legends new season.
Apex Legends Season 6 has come out. And I'm excited about the game. I'm liking the game. I thought I'd never say that about Apex. I'm enjoying the game. Has anybody played here? The new season on Apex?
I tried Apex very long ago, Hated it so much that I never got back.
I haven't even played it.
The new season on Apex, it's got a new character, which is it's like an Indian. What's her name? I kind of forgot her name now. Oh my god, I actually forgot the name. She's a new character. She's super overpowered at the moment. Rampart, actually, I just came up with it. Rampart is a new character. She's like an Indian. She's super funny. She's got like a really cool lines. The good thing about what Apex is starting to do, it's they have lines between the characters talking to each other. So it's obviously that they're starting to bring the story and mixing it up with the actual game and the lore of the game. The coming, as we all know, it's coming from the Titanfall
they're
lore
doing
in the past and everything. So there's
yeah, sorry. So they're doing what Overwatch did.
Yeah, or better.
Okay.
They're doing a much better job because the interactions, obviously, there is a lot less characters.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and also the interactions are like really good because you get the funny guy with his Mirage. There's the one that I usually pick, and he kind of like making fun of her on the conversation when they're like thinking each other and everything, and he's like, "Well, what are you talking about?" So it kind of like makes. I was playing it yesterday, and I actually was having a laugh with the person I was playing with because that person was playing with with Rampart, and I was actually it was good. So they're starting to mix up the the story a little bit. They're also adding obviously the story missions as well, which you have to pay for, which is really clever as well. So you collect packs and everything, and then you do like a story mission. The story mission is just it's lore for the game, for a battle royale game, but it's not really a big deal. I haven't done any yet. I did the previous season. It was quite good, but nothing special in my opinion. They got the same thing on this season. But the new character Rampart and the new weapon, which is the Vault, is a SMG, which is energy, and it's actually really good. It's probably overpowered right now, together with the Devotion. Devotion has been nerfed already once, but it seems to be really powerful right now. And yeah, like the Vault is an SMG, which is literally melts people down. The map hasn't changed much. There is just a new part. There is a new map coming soon, which we don't know exactly when it's going to be coming. But there is a new map. They change the map every few months. So kind of like mix it up a little bit. So, I mean, the map seems pretty much well balanced. The games were really good. Matchmaking and everything seems to be fine. No ping, no lag or anything whatsoever. I mean, that aspect of Apex is pretty much very well done. Yeah, this season they carried on with the same thing, and they added, these few bits here and there. The season pass, for some people, it's not really worth it. I found it is kind of worth it. Not my favorite one, but obviously, if you have the coins, you can get your coins back just by playing if you purchase one season pass, you can literally make your coins back and purchase the next season pass without having to pay again. So that's basically what I've been doing. Purchase the first one, and from that point on, I haven't had to pay a single penny for the season pass. So yeah, in that regard, that's a really cool thing. If you finish your season pass, you can purchase the next one without having to keep paying. And then if you want to pay for extra stuff, you can pay. So that's how a free game should be. That's how most of the games are doing now with the season pass. I think Fortnite does something very similar as well. I don't know if it's full on the whole price of the next season pass or like just 100 less or something like that, but it is pretty much a really good thing that they're actually doing that. And there is not really much changes on the weapons and everything. The meta has changed a little bit, but it's not all light and heavy weapons anymore like it used to be before. You wouldn't use any energy weapons at all, and now the energy weapons are relevant. The Devotion used to be only on packages, like special packages, and Devotion is now also on the on the pack, on the actual just normal loads. And the R99, which is SMG, a light ammo SMG that used to be on the normal game before, has been moved onto the packages, the special packages that come down. So you cannot use the R99 anymore, but you can pick it up from one of those packages, and it's like full on masterwork with, all the stuff at the max. That's basically the only change. I would have loved to see another weapon, one extra weapon. They're releasing just one weapon per season, which is, I think, not too much. And it's kind of like it becomes a bit repetitive on Apex, because obviously the diversity on Apex is not that much, to be honest with you. There's still weapons that are like, completely kind of like irrelevant, and they've not done anything about them. Overall, the game is doing quite well. I think the game has a really good, they have a really good balance right now. Just Rampart seems to be a little bit overpowered, because one of her abilities is she can create like barricades. So she can like literally barricade an entire room, and just you can't get through it unless you destroy it, and it takes a lot of bullets to destroy it. So it kind of is a bit too, a little bit, a tiny bit overpowered. But you know how they do it usually, like on Warzone, I've noticed they do exactly the same thing. When there is a new weapon on the season pass or something, usually it's overpowered on the first when the season starts. So it kind of incentivate, it makes you want to get that weapon. It makes you want to purchase the season pass so you can get that weapon. So the same thing with this character. It's a little bit overpowered at the moment. Her ultimate is she places down a turret which shoots like crazy, and the the rate. I mean, you can get your turret back so fast. It's absolutely incredible. I don't know how. Like that's, in my opinion, it's a bit broken, just a tiny bit broken. Well, I guess that's what they usually do, isn't it? One new character on the season pass, or one new character or one new weapon, usually is the overpowered weapon. So they incentivize you to purchase the season pass and get interested in getting it. Other than that, the game is pretty much the same, unless we get the new map release on. That's season 6 of Apex for you. Another season on a battle royale.
Yeah.
Orco.
No.
Okay, this one. Orco.
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. We can move on. We can move on.
Okay, Ghost of Tsushima co-op.
Yep. That announcement came completely out of nowhere. So Ghost of Tsushima is getting a free expansion. That's gonna be co-op. It's gonna be 2-player story mode and a 4-player based wave mode, where we're gonna get 4 different character classes, which are based around the idea of the skills from the core game. So I think it's a Ronin, Assassin, Samurai, and I'm missing the last one. I think it's October. We're getting the 2-player story campaign and a 4-player wave based, and it's all based around the Japanese mythology. So it's not a continuation of the story. It's essentially a multiplayer spin-off with more fantastical and mythological creatures. And by the looks of it, it looks like it's gonna be based around the myth of Izanagi and Izanami, a myth about the Japanese underworld or hell. So that's gonna be fun, finding demons and seeing where it goes. And later on, we're supposed to get a expansion for the 4-player mode, which is gonna be a full-on raid, where 4 players will work together to complete a longer level.
A full-on raid. Oh, that's awesome.
There's gonna be no microtransactions, so it's completely free. There's essentially nothing to scoff at. It's gonna be more of Ghosts of Tsushima and something to do with your friends. But I think still waiting on more details what the actual gameplay is gonna be. If there's gonna be any like replay value, or if it's gonna be just like the core game. Is it's gonna be a single story that once it's done. There is no reason to replay, or maybe just replay, and if you want and you are a completionist, just unlock all the stuff, because it looks like there's going to be cosmetics that you can unlock to differentiate yourself from some other player who's playing the same class. But yeah, looks cool. Can't wait, honestly. I'm I'm excited to see it go into more supernatural stuff, which was slightly hinted at during the core game, but it always had like a real world explanation. But here they're going just all out on the yokai and oni stuff.
The radar soft looks actually very interesting to me.
Yeah, looks suitably creepy as well, given what they're probably going to be basing it around.
No, it's just it's a 4-player, yeah.
It's 2-player story mode at the start and a 4-player wave-based mode. So you
Okay.
get a 2-player
You get
co-op.
new gear and everything, or
I think it's gonna be like it's gonna be the same way as the core game. You're gonna be unlocking new skills for that character class as you play with it. And yeah, there's 4 of them, so you got essentially 4 classes to level up and mix and match. And I think all the unlocks probably are gonna be cosmetic.
sounds great, man.
Yeah, it's more of the game. So yeah, I don't think there's anything to really complain about. Plus, it's free. And yeah, and later on, as I said, they're planning expand the 4-player mode with a raid. They haven't put down details for that one, but yeah, we're getting a raid in Tsushima.
In my opinion, it's like we discussed a few weeks ago. It's like it would be silly, in my opinion, not to invest on that game and keep building on it, because it's just the game is doing. In my opinion, the game is so good and it's got so many good reviews. It's just they should keep building on it, because and now that if the next step is doing the raid and everything, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get even better.
Yeah, I mean the game's like great as it is. This is just like a cherry on top, honestly. Plus, I think it's more of them just to wanting them to carry the game into the next generation, because obviously I'm pretty sure it's gonna get a PS5 version. So I think they want to, have like a bigger package to entice people to play it on the newer console if they haven't picked it up on PS4. So it gets like a second life on the next console as well. But yeah, as I said, there's still, I think, waiting for more information on that to really dig deep into it and see what the progression is going to be like, what the actual gameplay is like. Because we've seen snippets in the trailer, in the announcement, but I think, yeah, I'm waiting for more to see what it actually is going to be like. And that's about it for this one.
Nothing really to add here. Everything explained.
Okay.
The battle of the century is upon us.
Battletoads.
Will be a bigger battle than the Battle of Grogan, where we repelled the elves. Bam Bam versus Lord Val in Battletoads. Let's go.
Hey, Bam Bam, go on.
Yeah, so Battletoads is essentially a reboot of the NES Battletoads games. It's a beat 'em up, and this one, and it's a classic. And I'm gonna say I'm not the biggest fan of Battletoads on the NES, but I like beat 'em ups. And I was like, yeah, might as well play this one, because Streets of Rage 4 was a disappointment for me in a way. And this one, I have to say, it plays all right. It feels much better to play than Streets of Rage 4. It's a difficult game as well, and I commend that as well, that they actually essentially had the balls to make a really tough game. And yeah, the gameplay is all right. It feels all right to play. My main issue is honestly the presentation. It looks like a cheap Newgrounds game, and they essentially neutered the original style. It didn't translate well into what they have now. It looks like it's like comparing a 90s cartoon to a new cartoon where they go digital, and it doesn't feel right. I'd rather if they did pixel art than this. This is just a pure abomination of a art style.
I also feel like, just to throw that out there, that Battletoads lost a little bit of its edge.
Yeah. It had its edge, and I think that's what's kind of killing it, because they went essentially of going like like late 90s, early 2000 Cartoon Network. They went modern Cartoon Network. So yeah, I think the art style is just pure cancer.
No, come on, don't say that. Come on. Right, my point of view. Right. So we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, about the Ghost of Tsushima being Game of the Year. Well, I think we have a real contender right here, if not even better than Ghost of Tsushima, in my opinion. Battletoads 2020. Battletoads for life, baby. This game is probably the best game of the year. One, for starters, is on Game Pass and it's free. Second, I feel like, the game, the style, it just fits the game perfectly. It is exactly what the game is. It's what the game represents. It's cartoony, it's like modern, and it's change. The beat 'em up aspect is absolutely brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. It is just beyond any other game. There is no other game that does that. The story, amazing. It's so funny. It makes you laugh. I was laughing the entire time. They made me laugh when I was playing the game, and it is difficult. It's got difficulty. It's not easy. Some of the stages are a bit frustrating, but that's the frustrations we used to get in the past with this game. So they kind of like, they were clever and they knew what they had to do. They brought back a little bit of that frustration because they know that frustration is kind of like important to bring it back. So you get the same feeling. I got the same feeling of the game. Like, it just brought me back to, the old school Battletoads and the frustration. There was one stage in specific. It was so frustrating, and I am really enjoying the game. I think the game is it's absolutely brilliant. They've done a really good job. I got one complaint about the game, just one complaint. I want more. I want a lot more. I want more hours. It's only the game. You can finish the game within 5-6 hours. It's only 5-6 hours long. Not that much. Oh man, it is good. And it's also the thing that this game has, and this is why this game is the game of the year for me. Right. So this game has one thing. Somehow they have managed, and they have done it very cleverly, very, very well done. They have mixed up the intensive gameplay. Okay, they gave you like really intense gameplay, and then in the middle of it, they give you something slow to do, something to relax, something that you kind of like. You super nervous and you super intense and all of that, and then all of a sudden they give you one little thing in the middle of the stage, and they make you stop. So there is like puzzles and stuff like that. So in the middle of the things, they give you one small thing, and then if there is another intense, in the bobsleigh, they're doing like a bobsleigh thing. There's like jumping around. It's super difficult. In the middle of the stage, between sections, there is a small cutscene. So they give you like 5-10 seconds to come back, relax, and kind of like recover yourself and get ready for the next stage. So they do it very well. Also, between an intense stage and another intense stage, there is a middle stage, which is something that is fun. Like, there is one that is rock, paper, scissors, and it's and it's the Battletoads style. I can't remember the name. I was singing the name yesterday. I can't remember now. Between one stage and the other, you playing rock, paper, scissors, and it's just it throws you off completely. And you got this intense gameplay, which is really good, and I want more of it. I really want more of it. I actually felt like the beat 'em up aspect is so good. They didn't exploit it as much. I would have put extra 5-10 more stages of the beat 'em up thing, because they did a very clever thing between mixing up everything. Yeah, okay, you did a really good job, but put 2 stages or 3 stages, and then a transition stage or something, because it's so good that I feel like I didn't have enough of it. I haven't finished it yet. I'm probably more than halfway through, and I know how long the game lasts, because obviously I've seen the reviews and I've seen everything, and it's just the game feels so good, and I already know that I want more of the beat 'em up aspect. But the balance of the game is perfect. I think they have nailed down perfectly the balance of the game. The intense gameplay with a slowdown, intense gameplay, slowdown in the middle, and then a middle stage, and then you go into intensive stage again, and it's a really well thought game. They put a thought process into it. This is not one of those beat 'em up games that is like boom, a stage, a stage, a stage. You're doing the same thing over and over again for 6 hours. This is not this game. They have done this game and they have thought of, okay, what can we do the game? Why would people play this game? What can we do to change the feeling of this game? What can we do to change how people feel about this game? It's just not a beat 'em up. Let's just make not just a beat 'em up game. Let's just make a game that's it's funny. It's got things like the bad guys. Man, I've not laughed more in my entire life with a game. Like the two bad guys is just beyond crazy. If you guys haven't watched it, just please watch the gameplay because they made me laugh so much. The cartoony style, like you mentioned, I completely understand what you're saying, Bam Bam, about the cartoony, kind of like Cartoon Network style. But it just fits the game. You can't do that game with any other style. It's the Battletoads.
I mean, they did on the NES, and also they had the character in a really cool design in Killer Instinct.
There is also an SNES game, which a lot of people don't know, and that also had a good art style. I think it was Double Dragon versus Battletoads.
Like as you said, like the thing is, like there is some stuff that carries the game, and that it's rare, and it feels like an older rare game, which is good. You don't want your game to feel like a newer rare game. They have that like lighthearted style to their writing and stuff. Yeah, I just see so much of like modern like cartoons in it, and I think modern cartoons are just not funny, and they do work at some points a little bit here. Like here and there, I got a chuckle, but overall, I just find it like there's zero punch to the jokes.
No, can't say that. It is like it's funny. It's really funny. That's the one thing I think they nailed down actually. How the story, how do you feel like, because if people don't know who the Battletoads are like teenagers that got given like not superpowers, but they became the toads. So you get the feeling of that throughout the entire story. You get the feeling of the Battletoads being teenagers who just want fame. It resembles everything like that. I got the idea of the Battletoads trying to be famous throughout the entire story, and they actually that's why I say it's like they did really well with the story, and it kind of like the art style fits the story because of the goofiness of the Battletoads and the style of the Battletoads, the style of the story and everything is just cartoony, Disney cartoony, or not Disney, but Cartoon Network style of art of the game. And I think it's just they embraced it and they done an amazing job, in my opinion. I would say it's game of the year. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and Ghost of Tsushima is amazing, but that's a really good contender, in my opinion, to be a game of the year, because it's just the only problem with the game is it's short. Like, people want more of the game. I'm not the only one that thinks this. People want more of this game. It just feels the game is just. It made me feel like I was back in the 90s when the game came out, and it just made me. I don't know. Not the 90s. Well, later than the 90s, wasn't it?
It was 90s, but like the art style of the new Battletoads is more centered around like
It's new style. Let's just say
it's
Bamban's new
definitely
style. That's how everything is kind of like cartoony right now. It kind of like moves towards that kind of art style. So it just makes sense they're gonna be doing the same thing because it's what everyone is doing, to be honest. And that's how all the cartoon kind of like
yeah, and here is where I stand, and I just wish they didn't do what everyone does.
Yeah.
Because
stand out.
But the style
but
fits the game. Actually, it's not that the style doesn't fit the game. You know what I mean?
that's not the point. My point is that you could probably have a different art style that also fits and just differentiates itself from the crowd that is there. I'm like Bamba. New cartoons, if you look at Cartoon Network, they look really cheap. They look really cheaply made. And that's what I personally, it's my personal opinion. I just dislike that. That's just me. And I wish, I mean, I don't want to argue to people who say it's an amazing art style. Of course, have it your way, float your boat. My wish would just be that they have more of an little bit at least differentiating art style. Maybe go more back to the 90s, because if you are firmly rooted in the 90s with everything else, why take a modern art style? This is the question.
Yeah.
Can I give you the other point of view? What's the game called?
Battletoads.
2020. It's the newest version. It's not the same Battletoads as they used to be.
It's not called Battletoads 2020. It's Battletoads, which is.
But it's Battletoads 2020. So they kind of like they went onto the, not the futuristic, but the present art style with the same characters. So they kind of evolved in that way. But it's like the jokes and everything is still there. The teenager feeling is still there. The beat 'em up is probably one of the best I've played in a very long time. The aspect and the feeling of it. I don't know about you guys, but it just felt it feels good, and I just like it.
Like
And
as I said, like it feels much better to play than Streets of Rage 4. That's the thing. Like I'm not knocking down like the technical aspects of the game, because I think the back end of the game is great. I'm just really, really disappointed by the art style. Like, especially now, like I'm browsing screenshots, and at some points I'm like, this looks like a Rayman game, or this looks like other games. It doesn't look its own. It doesn't have its own visual language. It doesn't stand out, and that's the thing as well. And that's what irritates me probably about the visuals the most is I know how Rare used to make unique games that looked they made the games their own, and this looks like something that could be made by anyone else who has just
that art
access to
style is not easy neither. It's
no,
quite
it
different.
it straight up looks like a modern cartoon, like you'd see anywhere. It doesn't have its own visual flair. There's like it's super detailed, but that doesn't make it unique. There's a lot of games with visual.
I kind of like think it makes it a little bit unique because of the all the stuff that is going on, the different characters. There is a lot of usually those beat 'em up games they usually become very repetitive with the same stuff. That you're fighting the same people with different colors.
Yeah, the average are bad ones. Yeah,
they have a really good variety, and they have a lot of abilities, combos, and each enemy will feel completely different, and they have like different attacks, and every single stage feels completely different. The game feels short because of that. It's so good that if they had more of that, obviously it will be difficult to keep much variety and that much things and abilities and stuff going for so long. I just wish I hope they're working on more stuff, on adding more stuff to the game and adding more story to it, because the game is it's brilliant, and it feels good just punching everything and doing all the combos and changing between all three characters. And I got one complaint that is it's not long enough. I got another complaint actually. There is my second complaint is there is not actually multiplayer. It's a older style couch multiplayer. So
it's just local co-op.
Yeah, it's local co-op, and that's a shame. That's really a shame.
But it makes sense, honestly.
It makes sense because they're trying to, they're trying to maintain the feeling of the old game and everything. Also, that makes it a lot easier for them, isn't it?
Yeah. Plus, also the way the combat works and some of the other levels where you have very little window for a mistake and then making correction. And I think if you're playing co-op where essentially you're streaming your data to a server and then back, even with something goes wrong or there is someone with a lag, this game's gonna crumble with lag because
could be very frustrating.
The inputs are sometimes can be super tight.
Yeah, could be very frustrating. Yeah.
And as you were saying, like the thing like with beat 'em ups, where they may feel samey, it's the thing also that you can't introduce too much or too many different mechanics for enemies before the game becomes just a just a giant mess where you have to remember dozens and dozens of different mechanics per enemy.
Yeah.
So that's why the older games and even now like beat 'em ups tend to be a little bit on the less variety in enemies, and not enemies, but in enemy mechanics, because you just can't have like 2 dozens of different enemies with all with different patterns, because then the screen becomes unreadable, because you essentially have to know so much about the game just to be able to do reasonably well. And I think here they circumvent that by doing levels in different styles rather than just all beat 'em up, because then if they add more of the beat 'em up, there would be the fact that they'd have less variety in enemies because they can't introduce too many mechanics before again the screen becomes unreadable and you don't know essentially what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, not putting all the enemies in the same place, but they've done a really good job with everything. I don't know, the artist. I like the art style. I think
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking
I'm a
away
big
from it.
fan. I'm a big fan of both the older style anime, like the Dragon Ball style, that classic anime style, and then I got to the other, to the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and I like the art style of Battletoads, for example. I find that good. I find that funny, and I find they embrace the entirety of the thing, and they know what they were doing. Like I appreciate a lot having a game back after 20 years. Them bringing the quality. They thought about the game. They put a thought process into the game. They just didn't make the game and just said, "Let's get it out there." That's a game. They put a thought process on it, and they actually made a good balance of the game. They made the balance of the game perfect, in my opinion. And then, they went with it, and they had variety. They had the stuff. The other side is the other side. People are gonna like it. People are not gonna like it. But they put a thought process into the game, and they care about the game. It shows me that they care about the game. They time and effort into it, and they said, "Okay, let's make this game like before, but at the same time, not like before." It feels good to me. I was so pleasantly surprised by the game, and I was so happy, and I enjoyed so far everything I've played for the game. I'm gonna finish the game obviously because I'm doing the whole series
Mhm.
on my YouTube. So I'm gonna finish the game, and so far I can say I've done halfway through the game, just over halfway through the game, and I'm enjoying it. I literally you can hear me laughing continuously because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying myself playing the game. So I feel like the game they have done a really good job. In my opinion, this is the game of the year together with Ghost of Tsushima. That's a big, bold statement, and people are gonna hate me for that. But yes, that's what I think.
Whatever, because it's like whatever floats your boat. I'm not saying like you're wrong or anything. I'm just saying that I kind of I was like, yeah, the gameplay is fine, but holy crap, the art style. But yeah,
Mm,
like that's my main issue. My
mm.
my thing is if I don't like what I'm looking at, might as well not play it.
Yeah, a lot of people think like you. Definitely, a lot of people are not into that kind of art style.
Looks a
Yeah.
lot like Guacamole from what I'm seeing.
Guacamole, a bit different. It's a bit. It's
No,
more. It's
just
more.
the art style. I'm just
It,
talking about the art style.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's a full on Cartoon Network. It's a full on Cartoon Network. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Is there anything to add?
Not for me.
No? Good.
Right. Then, for today, I would actually close out the show because we can touch on Epic next week and leave it at that. This has been the 19th episode of the Orcocast with my wonderful co-host Lord Val and my Bum Bum. Val, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/LordValGaming. Also, I am on Twitter, LordValTwitch. Also on Instagram and TikTok, LordValGaming. And on YouTube, same game, LordValGaming. I'm going to say LordValGaming so many times, and I'm bored of it already. So, yeah, you can find me everywhere.
Awesome. Bum.
Every now and then I pop up in your chat, and that's about it for now.
And me, it's twitch.tv/theorcosaurus. It's twitter.com/theorcosaurus, Instagram Orcosaurus, and on YouTube I'm also just Orcosaurus. So keep that in mind. So I close out the show. Thank you for listening and watching, and/or watching. I bid thee a farewell, and you all have a great time. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Have a
Bye.
good day, everyone.